everybody. I'll say that again because I just got a recording in progress notice. Welcome, everybody. My name is Zena. For those of you who haven't met me before, I am your host today for this amazing workshop, Financial Literacy and Concepts, which Vivia has very kindly offered to share with us. A little bit about me, just so you get to know me as well. My name is Zena, as I said. A little bit like the warrior princess, people normally relate that to. But I don't do any of that. I specialise in helping mums in business. So I'm a mompreneur mentor and coach. So I help mums build amazing businesses around busy lifestyles and around a very busy family priorities. And I love that this workshop's come along at the right time for me because I'm just delving into a lot of things with my clients to do with money. Because money can be almost like a really negative word for a lot of people, but being able to manage money, handle money in a positive way, in a positive environment, makes such a difference in life, in business, in so many different ways. So I'm really excited for this today, which will be really nice. And I'm sure I've got my notepad and pen. I'm sure I'll be writing stuff down. So please do jot things down yourself as well. So this workshop is being held through KaushalyaUk, which is a registered not-for-profit community organisation which works towards empowering and uplifting women. It is growing organically in leaps and bounds under the dynamic leadership of its founder and CEO, Ritu Sharma, who we've heard from very briefly just now. She's dedicated her life to bringing women of this world to find their own power and their true worth. So really amazing stuff that goes on in our group. If you haven't heard of KaushalyaUk before, now you have. It is on your radar, and please do. You're welcome to any of the events that Kaushalya actually hold. So over to Ritu for a few words before we go into today's topic. Ritu, over to you.
Yeah, I was on mute. Hey everyone. Hey. Hi everybody. I am on unmute. I believe everybody can hear me now. Super. It's still saying me unmute yourself, so it's all right. Very warm welcome everyone to KaushalyaUk platform. We hold one-off workshops as and when some lovely, kind, knowledgeable people like Vivia offer us their services and offer to share their wonderful, deep knowledge with all of us. Tonight we're talking about financial education and concepts, and it's just come at the right time because yesterday we completed the first anniversary of our first publication, The New Woman, Stories of Kintsugi Experiences. So it's a very empowering, powerful, versatile book with 33 women's stories from all sorts of backgrounds, cultures, religions, and we covered 5 continents, 18 countries, and we are extremely, extremely proud of this book. We are the best-selling book on Amazon, and I take pride in saying that this is a KaushalyaUk book. What we are doing now is we are initiating the second volume of The New Woman, and it's going to be around entrepreneurship and financial education. So Vivia's workshop has come just at the right time while we speak about it. And of course, I'll be sharing more information on our Facebook page, on our Instagram account, on our other platforms, WhatsApp, etc. as well. So what I'll do while we continue to do this workshop is I'll share LinkedIn and other profiles on the chat, and please stay connected. You might actually benefit from it. And if you'd like to get some feedback from how our co-authors from the first volume have benefited for being participants on this project, we had quite a few lives yesterday on our KaushalyaUk Facebook page. Feel free to visit them and have a look. I am thrilled to have you here tonight. Thank you for coming along and deciding to spend this evening with us. I'll give it back to Zena. Thank you, Zena.
Thanks for that, Ritu. So welcome to our amazing speaker today, Vivia. Vivia Johnson. She is a financial coach And just before I hand over to Vivia, I'm going to request, I normally request all questions to be left till the end for you to jot them down, but I believe Vivia has some interactive things going on during the presentation. So unless it's asked for, if you've got any questions outside of that, please just jot them down. They are important to us. We will answer them at the end. But of course, if it's during the interaction and things are being asked and things are being discussed, please do take part, because that's what we're all about. Of course, your questions are important, because I'm sure somebody else will be asking or thinking the same thing as well. So you'll be helping somebody else out. So over to Vivia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm Vivia, and I want to make a disclaimer right now that apart from my story, I've borrowed everything else. Okay? Apart from my own story, I'm making that disclaimer that I've borrowed stuff that I've put together just to give a little taster and just to talk about the importance of considering what we do with our money. Okay, so I'm going to start by asking if you've got your purse or your wallet handy. Please, can you find your purse or your wallet and see if you can dig out for me a 1 penny? So you can use the chat as well, please, because I need some interaction here. So for those who've got their cameras off, please just put in the chat, yes, I've got my 1 penny. Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so you can everybody see my screen? Yep. Okay, wonderful. So everybody's got their penny. I can see in the chat. I don't know if Zena or Richard can monitor the chat for me. I don't have my purse, I'm afraid. Oh dear. Okay. All right. Okay. So you've got this 1 penny. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a story like this. So you can rest your penny for a moment. I'm feeling so sick. Oh my gosh, I've got the flu. My head's hurting. My throat is hurting. My nose is blocked. My sinuses is blocked. Oh my gosh. I'm feeling so ill. Medication's not helping me at all. I leave my bedroom. I go downstairs. I'm in the settee. I'm watching the TV, but my whole body's in pain. I'm thinking, oh, why has this got to happen to me? Why now? So I'm off work. I'm sick. I'm not able to go to work. I get up from the settee. And my blinds open, so I take a little peek outside the window. And I see 2 older adults, ladies, walking up my pathway. And I'm thinking, oh no, they've seen me. They're going to knock my door. I thought, right, I know exactly who they are. The Jehovah's Witness. I'm going to prepare for them now. I'm going to say, I'm really sick. I'm really sorry. I just can't. I'll just take the leaflets and I'll read them. So the door opens. I open the door because they rang the bell and they saw me through the blinds. I opened the door. I saw the lady bent down and she picked up a penny that was on my drive. And she said, here you are. You've dropped your penny. I took the penny and I say, thank you. And I said, I'm really sick. Can I just take the leaflets? And I took the leaflets. I closed the door. I had this penny in my hand. It was dirty. And I looked at it and I thought, this penny has been on that drive for weeks, maybe longer. And every day we come and we go, and we discard this penny on the drive. And today, this lady has come and she saw the value in this penny and she picked it up. And I say, God, thank you for opening my understanding today to the value of a penny, because I discarded it. I thought, a penny, what's it worth? It's worth nothing. So I decided, do you know what? I'm going to put this penny in a jar. And I said, Father, please bless this penny. Please increase it. And every money that I get, whether it's £5 or whatever, I'm going to give it away, because you showed me something today that I hadn't realized before. So I thanked her. And I thought, you know what? It was good for me to be sick that day, to be able to encounter with these two ladies that saw the value in a penny. I've still got the tin with that same penny in many years after. And I build on it and I give it away when someone is in need, because I made that commitment to God. That's what I would do. That money would become charity. So I'm sharing that, my story, to say that day was a very significant moment in my life. I began to see that money is, the love of money is the root of all evil, but having money is not evil in itself. So have a look at your penny and tell me, what do you see in this penny? Write in the chat if you may. What do you see? If you was walking on the road and you saw a £5 note on the road and you saw a penny, which one would you pick up? No doubt the £5, because it's got more value. So the fact is, every penny makes £1, and every penny makes £5, and £10, and £20, and £30. So let's keep that penny there for a moment. That taught me a lesson. I am now 61 years of age. I'm 61. And within the last few years, I realized the importance of saving pennies and putting things aside and not discarding the little pennies. As a consequence of some things that I'm going to show you now that I have learned, I've been able to start a property portfolio. At the age of 60, 61, I've been able to start a property portfolio. Okay. So that's a little bit about me and my story and my penny story. I'm going to go right into the deep end now and show you some statistics, some information that's coming straight from the Money Charity. It's not new information. It's public knowledge. It's out there. And this is just really important information that's fresh. It says wages falling at record levels are pushing ever more people into financial distress as living costs continues to skyrocket. Would you agree? Yeah? Think about that penny. Citizens Advice are reporting that they are seeing the highest proportion of their clients with negative budgets, meaning they have more essential spending going out than incomes coming in. UK estimates that one property is being repossessed every 3 hours and 43 minutes. Now, who's got property here? Who's living in their own homes? Possibly quite a few people. Think about those people. One every 3 hours and 43 minutes whose homes are being repossessed because of financial problems. 63% of ethnic minority groups have seen their cost of living negatively impacted by the pandemic, compared to 59% of all UK adults. So we can see that there is some disparity going on with certain groups of people. 8 out of 10 workers who had to work at home during the pandemic say that they plan to continue working. And I've spoken to lots of my colleagues who said, yes, I've enjoyed working from home, I'm going to continue, but there's a cost implication for that. The same, think about the penny. It says here, now I want you to get your calculator, your phone, whatever you have now, and think about this. It costs an average, this is from the Money Charity, it costs an average £24.44 per day for a couple to raise a child from birth to the age of 18. Times 24.44 by 7, times that by 12. How much do you get? Write it in the chat if you may. Quite a lot of money, isn't it? It's quite a lot of money. So think about, not everybody has children, but a lot of people have children, and the cost of living is rising, and looking after children is not easy. So 24.44 per day times 7, times that by 12, times that to the 18th birthday, that is an awful lot of money. Now, think about this. Think about the time that you started working, and you can write it in the chat if you may. What age did you start working? Was it 16? Was it 17? What age did you start working? And think about it. If you had the option to never spend a penny out of your earnings, where would you be financially right now? One said 16, 23, 13 paper rounds, yes, 22. So fairly young. Imagine all the money that you earn from that age to now. Where would you be financially? Where would you be? So you can see from the average earnings here, 25,000 to over 40 years of working. One would be a millionaire if you just put that money aside and never spent any of it. 50,000 over 40 years, 2 million. 75,000 over 40 years, 3 million. It's a lot of money. So most of us, if we're honest, if we didn't spend, if our mothers and fathers said to us, you stay home, my darling, you don't have to give me anything, you don't have to spend anything, you just keep all that money for yourself, we would be okay. But life isn't really like that, is it? It's not like that. We have to spend. And the fact is that everybody wants our money. Everybody wants your money. Whether you do good with what you buy or not, but everybody wants your money. Imagine going to Tesco or Asda and you go to the till and you're short by a penny or two. What would they say? They would say you either have to put that goods back. They're not going to say to you, oh, it's okay, you know, we'll just let you off with a penny. No, because they see the value of that 1 pence. If every shopper went into Asda or Tesco and they let off 1p per customer, imagine how much loss they would make. They wouldn't be happy with that. So we ought to do the same by valuing the penny, the hard-earned penny that we get. Okay. So would you agree that it's not what you earn that counts, but it's about what you keep, what you're able to keep? That's the important element here. It's not what you earn. You can earn millions, but still have nothing to show at the end of it. So it's important to think about, how do I protect my income? How do I protect my pennies? How do I build wealth for the next generation? How do I help my son, my daughter, my family on the ladder to success? So here is a really, really important slide. We know that there's lots, we talked about some of the issues that families face. And if you think about where you are right now, if you're brave enough, you can put it in the chat. I don't mind. I've told you how old I am. If you're brave enough, you can put it in the chat and say, you know, I'm 25, I'm sweet 16, I'm 27. But think about, where will you be on retirement? We talked earlier about how time is speeding up. Time seems to be going so fast. You go to bed, you sleep, and before long, it's a week's passed, a month's passed, a year's passed. So this is something that was done. You can find it on YouTube. It's the Miracle Morning, How Elrod. This is statistics that makes perfect sense in every era. At the time of retirement, 1 is wealthy, 4 financially stable, 5 still working. Unfortunately, 36% pass before retirement, and 54 dependent on friends and family to support them. That's the stark reality of life. So financial education is really, really key. How do we enable people to understand the importance of planning? So my question, you can put it in the chat as well. If you change nothing about what you're doing right now, where would you be? In what category would you be? Don't do anything different with your life. Where would you be? Somebody sat on a beach eating cat food, unable to pay my mortgage. Okay. If I don't change a thing now, I would be still still working. Okay. One said 5%, currently in the 5%. That's good. Okay. Okay. Not sat on a beach, sat on a bench. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So what will need to happen then? So where ideally would one like to be? In the 1%? In the 4%? Most people would say, actually, when I get to the age of retirement, I don't want to be working. I don't want to be having to depend on family and friends. I want to be in a position, a financial position, where I'm able to help others. So how do we ensure that if we change nothing about what we're doing right now? Think about the people who are having to go back to work after retirement because that early planning wasn't done. It caught upon them, retirement caught upon them because time is going so fast and they didn't make the early planning. It's quite scary. It's really, really quite scary. And I can use myself as an example of not doing that early planning. And the panic sets in where you think, my gosh, where am I going to be? If I change nothing about my current situation right now, I will definitely still be working. And I am doing something actively to change that by speeding up something that I'm doing differently. So do we agree that debt is a serious obstacle that prevents people from achieving their goals and dreams in life? Because most people have dreams and goals, most people want to achieve, but debt stops people in their tracks. It's a major issue. Wills and trust, I'm not going to go too much into that because I've got a short video that I'm going to share with you just to give you an example of the importance of why you need to have a will and why you need to put your assets in a trust. Protection, I won't go into great details about that as well, but the importance of having protection is key to that planning. We talked about retirement. Where will you be at the age of retirement? Think about those things. Now, this is in terms of how life works. Think about where we are now. I don't know where you see yourself on this line, but the dark blue line and the light blue line. So on the dark blue line, when somebody's young, they have young children, they may have debt. Not everybody has debts. They may have a mortgage. A loss of income for that family would be rather devastating, wouldn't it? It would be rather devastating. So it's important to think about, how am I going to protect the family whilst being in the situation, being young, having children, young children. We think about how much it costs for one child per day, per week. It's important to think about how we plan for that. So it's important to think about protection by borrowing wealth on the dark blue line, borrowing wealth, but at the same time, because we don't have much money at that stage, it's important to think about what you're going to need when you get to the other side of retirement. You're going to need money. When your children's grown, you may have no debt, or your debt's quite low, mortgage is paid off. It's important to think about, how am I going to live in retirement? Huh? How will I live? Think about, I'm going to call Zena. Zena. Right. So Zena, when you was at school and you went to the shops to buy, say, sweets, how much, can you remember how much you paid for sweets back then?
I wasn't allowed to buy sweets, but
okay.
Probably like 10p for a Freddo, wasn't it? It's like 10 pence for a Freddo.
Okay.
That kind of thing. I'm thinking of chocolates. That's probably the kind of thing I'd go for.
Okay. So where would that 10p get you now if you went to the shop to buy some sweets? Not very far, would it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
So we can see that indexation, inflation rises. And often what's happening is that salary, wages isn't rising in line with inflation. So people have been left behind. And so there is this massive gap. Okay, so it's important to think about, where am I on this line? Where do I fit in here? Am I still young with young children, with mortgage? Am I heading towards retirement? How am I going to survive in retirement? How am I going to live? Right, this is really key. Who has heard of the rule of 72? Has anyone? Just put in the chat yes or no. Okay. So yes, one person, no, never heard of it. Yes, no, okay. So for the sake of those who've never heard of the rule of 72, I shall just explain how that works. So the rule of 72 is an old banking principle, and it doesn't matter whether it's today, whether it's next year, whether it's 10 years from now, the principle remains the same. It tells you how long it takes for your money to double at a given interest rate. So if you've got your phone again, if you've got your calculator, I want you to take it out for me, and I want you to tell me, think about who you currently bank with. All right, whether it's NatWest, Barclays, which bank is there? Barclays, NatWest, who else is it? Santander. What is the interest rate that they're giving you on your savings right now? Just throw me out a figure. 0.1%? Approximately. Use your calculator for me and put 72 divided by 0.1%. Tell me what you get. Let's say shockingly low. Okay. 0.1%. Okay. Yeah. Santander. Yeah. 72 divided by 0.1%. How much do you get? Okay. 720 years. That's how long it will take for your money to double at the interest rate given to you by Santander. Where would you be in 720 years? So can you see that the banks really don't have your interest at heart? So imagine who we've got. I'm going to pick on Zena. Imagine Zena, you bank with Santander and you've inherited £10,000 and you take your £10,000 to Santander and you put it there because you're saving towards a house deposit. Okay, they're giving you 0.1%. Let's say they were really, really generous and they were offering you 3%. So 72 divided by 3% gives you 24. So every 24 years, your money would double. It would take 24 years if you left your money there for your money to double. After 48 years, you would have accrued £40,000. Okay. How old would you be in 48 years' time?
In my late 70s, early 80s.
Okay. So
if I'm still alive.
Yeah. So what the banks do, they say, Zena, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take good care of your money. Ritu goes into the bank because Ritu needs a new car. Ritu borrows £10,000. But they lend her at 6%, let's assume. So again, the same principle, 72 divided by 6% every 12 years. So the bank is actually doubling their money every 12 years, whilst at the same time, your money is being doubled every 24 years. Go a little bit further when you think about credit cards and loans and everything else that the bank offers at a higher interest rate. So if you use the same principle at 6%, after 48 years, the bank would have accrued 2.56 million on your money. That's how the banks work. Imagine if you could switch that around, flip that on its head, and look at where you could invest at a higher interest rate and get a better return on your money rather than leaving it in the bank. Because actually the banks don't really have any money for themselves. They're reliant on people like us putting our monies in the bank for them to then invest. Go back to the banking crisis in 2007. So it's about how do you get the rule to work for you rather than working for the banks. Okay, that's one of the principles we look at. One of the other things we look at is debt stacking, and I won't go into details, but if somebody's in crisis and is in debt, we look at how can we show people how to use the principle of debt stacking to get out of debt and become debt-free sooner. So in this example here, you can see that this person was able to save 60,000 on interest and finish paying off the debt 9 years and 10 months sooner. So that's one of the principles we look at. How to use debt stacking to your advantage. Okay. Who's heard of fortnightly mortgage payment? Who's got a mortgage here that they're still paying? Okay. Okay. Have you heard of fortnightly payment? No? So again, it's not in the bank's interest to tell us about fortnightly payment, is it? Because they're going to lose money. The banks will say, yes, you have the option to pay an extra, I don't know, is it 10% you can overpay per year? Well, how much people's got that money to put aside to overpay that? Given the crisis that's going on right now, how many people can realistically say, I've got money that I can pay 10% in addition to what I'm paying on my monthly mortgage? We see the statistics about how many people's homes are being repossessed. So fortnightly payment, again, is a way to enable people to get out of debt or pay off their mortgage sooner. So imagine that you pay your mortgage on the, say, the 28th day of the month. 28th of July is the due date of £500. Okay. By splitting that £500 in two, 250 and 250, and paying them 14 days apart, what you're actually essentially doing is cutting the interest rate in half. So the interest rate is now calculated every 14 days as opposed to every 28 days. So if you think about it, if your mortgage is paid on the 28th of the month, you're not going to pay your mortgage again till the 28th of the following month. By splitting the payment in half, you're essentially cutting into the interest that is paid over the term of the mortgage. Now, I can't say to you that every provider will allow this to happen, but it's something that people need to know about when they're thinking about getting a mortgage. Who can I go to that is going to allow me this flexibility to do this, because I haven't got 10% extra money to pay them. I need to be able to look at different options. So this is one option to consider. So most people don't plan to fail, and that's true. People don't go out with the intention to say, I am going to fail today. I am going to fail for the rest of my life. It doesn't happen. Everybody wants to succeed. What the issue is that most people don't plan to fail. They just simply fail to plan. There's no planning. There's no planning at all. So have you heard again of the 70-10-10 principle? Yeah? It's important to think about that as part of planning. 70% when we earn, so we go out and we work so hard. What do we do with our money? Go back to that penny. What do we do when we spend 8 hours a day working hard for these pennies that ultimately end up to be like something like 2,500 a month or 1,500 in your bank? You say, oh, I've earned that money. You've earned every penny. So it's important to think about that. So we think about everyday spend. How do you plan your spend? 70% go on your everyday living. Have a contingency emergency pot in the event of something happening. Look at what happened over COVID and how it came like a tsunami and hit families left, right, and center. And most people didn't have a 3 months income in their bank to be able to cushion them for that blow that came. So it's important to think about 70% of your income. Use that towards everyday living. Put something aside for the emergency contingency. Put something aside in your savings, but think about where can I put my savings that's going to enable me to get a higher interest rate, and not like some of the banks that's going to give me 0.1%. Some people like to give. It's important to think about, okay, do I need to have a little small pot? This is my giving pot. We see so often on social media where people are having to do the GoFundMe because the planning wasn't done. and somebody's left in crisis. So this could be my giving GoFundMe pots. But it's also, how do we teach people to get to that stage where they are now having to request help from somebody? And we know that, according to the word, we will always have poor people with us. And we have a duty to make sure that those who are less fortunate than ourselves, we're in a position to help them. So it's important to think about that concept, that principle of 70, 10, 10, 10. So my question to you is, do you currently have a written plan? Or are you planning to fail? Okay, so one of the things that I do in Jenny Star, the company I'm currently in, is called Jenny Star. And what we do, we offer a bespoke financial game plan that looks at all areas of life. And I always like to think about it as a 50-pence piece, that you're not leaving one element out, but you're looking at all the aspects. Protection, look at mortgage, wills and trusts, all types of protection that's needed, investments, home insurance. So we put a financial game plan together, bespoke, unique to that person, and it's free. We don't charge anything for that. What we say is, if you're satisfied with the service that we offer, then please refer us on to others who will also need to hear about what we do. I'm going to share with you a little video clip and think about what I said about planning and wills and trusts. Please just give me a thumbs up if you can hear this video. This is a real live scenario. Just want you to listen to this.
Hello, my name is Juliet, and I'd like to tell you a true story. I had a very, very dear friend. We grew up together. We laughed together. We had our children together. We celebrated every possible thing that you can imagine that's good in life together. We loved the Lord, we loved the Most High, and we were also people who knew the importance of striving for what we want in life. One day, my friend became very ill, unexpected, because she was very, very healthy. But nonetheless, it was her time, and the Lord took her. In that so happening to her, it was an expectation before she passed away that she would actually put in place everything she needed to do to make sure that her daughter, her future, would have a good life and retain a roof over her head. Unfortunately, she didn't speak to me about what she needed to understand. And it's not that I'm going to blame her at all for that, because I think it's something that we all do. We're all very secretive about what we expect to happen with what we have after we're no longer here. And we think we've got all the answers singularly about what we should do. So she went to a solicitor. She trusted the solicitor would do the right thing, and that solicitor didn't do the right thing. She did produce a will for her, and that was the extent of what she did, and she would have obviously taken quite a bit of money from her. So what it meant is that when she unfortunately lost her life, she had asked me and her sister to be executors of her will. And, I agreed that I would do that. It's a big responsibility, but it's a responsibility that I embrace because I'm also godmother to her daughter. And I wanted to make absolutely sure the best happened to her daughter. So without any exception, I made sure that I did the right thing. We would then produce a bill. We produced all the information and all the details on finance and income, and we spoke with the solicitor. And it then turned out that we were supposed to, as the executors, come up with a sum of £360,000 for inheritance tax. Obviously, we were horrified. We were thinking, where are we supposed to find this money? And it wasn't long before it was explained to us where we find it. My dear friend owned land. She had land in the Caribbean. That was valued. There was no house on it, but it was valued, and we had to get a formal valuation. She also had a car that had to be formally valued. She owned 2 properties and her own home, and those all had to be valued. The cost of the furniture within her house had to have a value put to it. Now, we provided that valuation, we provided all that detail to the solicitor. only to find that when the information went over to Her Majesty's Service, HMRC, they decided that no, they were not happy with those valuations. And they then instructed that a separate valuation be carried out. That upped the actual cost of what we had to then pay. And we had to pay another £40,000 in inheritance tax. So the only place that we were able to get this was to sell. We had to sell property, sell the car, sell the land in the Caribbean, sell everything that she ever worked really hard for, that she only ever wanted to pass on to her daughter. And the important thing here that I need to explain is, in so doing, not having an understanding of inheritance planning and estate planning, it meant that when we actually calculated it later, because that knowledge was gained and understood, at least £150,000 of that would have been saved or been reduced. So I say this to say, please put your estate in order. Don't leave it to chance. Don't put it off to the future. Take care of it, because you've worked hard for what you've got. And whatever you've got, you would like to know that those you love most will be able to receive that without causing them hardship or loss. Instead, her daughter, who also, my goddaughter, who also has a disability, has found herself struggling to survive because she hasn't got the income that her mum had intended for her to have. Hello.
Sorry. Right. So that is, I've left that to the last. And I know it sounds really heavy, but this is the reality of life and why it's important for us to share about financial education and the importance of planning. I work, as I said, with a company called Genistar, and our mission is to teach people about how money works so that they can make those smart decisions for themselves and their families. We are authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. It's a company that's birthed in the UK. And as I said, it's about how do we spread that information? How do we empower people? And more so, I'm going to stop sharing now for questions. If there is ever a time that we need to become financially savvy, is right now. If there's ever a time that we need to educate families on the importance of taking care of these pennies, is now. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to open it for any questions now.
Thank you so much for that, Vivia. That was very eye-opening, especially that last video. A lot of things that we don't think about, or we think, oh, we'll leave till later because all this stuff happens later, right? But one thing that personally I have learned from my own personal experience is that in life is too short. You don't know what's around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So the time to plan, like you said, is now. And a couple of messages that I've got, a couple of things that I really liked what you said from today. It's not what you earn, it's what you keep from your earnings that counts. That's what wealth is. And I've heard that saying before, but I loved revisiting that today because it's so true. It's not how much you earn on a monthly, yearly, daily basis. It's how much of that you keep, what you're doing with that money.
Absolutely.
And most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And that's so true. Not just with finances, with so many areas of life. But my gosh, yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Vivia. And can you guys believe that this is Vivia's first time presenting? Wasn't she just amazing? So can we just have a moment of appreciation for that, Vivia? You were fantastic. So thank you so much for that. That was amazing. Yeah, it was incredible. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Ritu to finish off, but thank you so much for attending today. If you do have any questions, just pop your hand up or unmute yourself and do ask away, and then Ritu will close. Something in the chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, any questions, guys? Ask away. They are important. Vivia, I know that I definitely need. I would be very interested in using your services and what you do, because it's something I've never done before, and you've made me feel like I really need to get it done now. Let's have a look at my life. So yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and I'll hand over to Ritu.
Thank you, Vivia. It was wonderful. Well, it was in such a short while you've imparted so much knowledge, and I had not heard about quite a few things that you've mentioned, and it's very eye-opening. If anything, I mean, considering how unpredictable life can be. People as young as 36 are dying, out of nowhere. I mean, 36 is a bit old as well. You must have heard of even younger people dying. And obviously they've not got to that stage. I mean, for somebody like me who's in their 40s, start thinking, I need to start putting things in place. But if somebody's in 30s, young children, they'd all say, they probably would think we've got enough time to do that at a later stage. So another thing, with all this is that there is no later for any planning that we intend to do. Now is the time, we've got to just wake up and think of what if. Like, the video you showed, it's so heart-touching. I mean, leaving a young child behind and not knowing that you worked so hard to make her life better, but then she won't be able to use all that. That feels like theft.
Yes.
That feels like you've been robbed. That doesn't feel fair at all. Design of life, really. But thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful that you could come along today and share all this information and knowledge with us, and I really hope that you can come back another time with the next layer. This is surprising stuff, right?
Yes, absolutely. There is a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And knowledge is key. Knowledge enables us to make those right choices.
Absolutely.
And the important life choices as well, because sometimes we make some choices in life and you think, well, what is the value in this? But it's about those important life choices that we need to make. Set them as priorities.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I've also left a link for KaushalyaUk's online platforms. So if you'd like to stay in touch, which we would really like, please do so. And we do normally bring people who are experts, very knowledgeable people, just like Vivia, on board from time to time. And I'm grateful to Zina for bringing us all together, putting it all together, and bringing us all together at such a wonderful time today. And I'm grateful to everybody who could come and join us today as well, for spending this time of evening with us. I'm sure you have been enriched. So a big, huge thank you to all of you, and God willing, we'll see each other again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry, has Vivia put the contact details in the chat?
Oh, my contact details.
That would be wonderful, Vivia. Please do that. Zina, would you like to do that as well for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, for anybody that has missed anything or wants to watch it over, there will be a replay uploaded on the KaushalyaUk website. So the link tree that Ritu has just posted, have a look on there. All the videos will be uploaded on there as soon as possible. So yes.
I'll put my number and my email.
Great, thank you.
We'll wait for people to save the chat and then we'll close the room.
Yeah.
See if I can see that in the sections.
Okie dokie.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Stefan, for coming along. It was wonderful to have you. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.